Yeah, buddy. We'll be back before long. Oh, hey guys, you snuck up on me. I was, pretending I was riding out on the highway there and going through some twisties. But anyway, if you guys have been following the channel for a while, you know what I'm about to say. And if you haven't been following the channel, I mean, what's going on? What's the problem? I give it away for free, man. I'm not charging anything. You can go down there and subscribe to the channel, whatever, if you want to. If you don't want to, hey, that's cool too. But anyway, I've got myself here a 2003 Harley Davidson Softail Standard, okay? And it came with these god-awful buckhorn handlebars on it, and I can't stand them. I know some people like them, okay? I get it. Some people dig them. Some people love this style where your hands are real low like this, but I don't like it. I would prefer, backstory here. I grew up riding dirt bikes, and, my first street bike was a KZ, a 650, a KZ 650, early 80s KZ 650. And it had drag bars on it, so they were straight bars, and on that bike you lean forward. I don't want to lean forward. What I'm finding on this bike, and the reason I'm actually sitting on it, is so you guys can see my posture, my position when I ride. When I ride this bike, I tend to ride like this, where my back gets more and more curved as I'm riding because I'm reaching down like this, and my hands are at an angle. I don't really dig that my hands are at an angle, and when you do extreme turns on these bars, it just feels funny. I just don't like it. I prefer to have my hands about right here. And yeah, I might have a little bit of curve in my back, curving like that, but I could always sit up and straighten up and correct myself after a while of riding or whatever. But yeah, I just haven't been happy with these bars since I got the bike, and I've been wanting to change them. But as you guys know, everything got really expensive for some reason over the last 4 or 5 years, okay? You can blame a lot of different things. I don't want to go into that, why it happened, but it took me a while to save up the money to put all the pieces together because it's not just the handlebars. I wanted to replace the risers because another thing that I'm having a problem with, you guys probably can't see it from that far away, but I've got back here, I've probably got 3/4 of an inch of movement. And it's because these rubber bushings, the factory bushings, are getting worn. So we're going to get all that changed out. But before we do, I wanted you to get one last look at it in its factory configuration with these buckhorn handlebars on there. We're getting ready to put some drag bars, or that's what I called them when I was growing up. They may also be called T-bars now. I don't know. But that's basically my position. And when I first start out, I'm okay, but look how my arms are straight out just to touch that. It's not right because I'm reaching down like that. It'd be better if I was up here somewhere, like right about there, it'd be perfect. So that's what I'm shooting for. And if you guys have spent any time looking up handlebar stuff, you know how difficult that can be to find the perfect set of handlebars where you're not going to have to change out cables and extend a bunch of stuff and, spend a whole bunch of money. I was just telling my wife the other day, it's taken me a really long time to figure this out, but whether it's Harley Davidsons or Chevy trucks or Chevy Monte Carlos or Camaros or whatever you're into, oftentimes if you do one upgrade, it ends up sending you down this rabbit hole of 100 different upgrades that you weren't planning on doing, because to make that one thing work, you have to do X, Y, Z, all these other things, right? And it's so frustrating when you want to do one little single thing. Typically, you have to end up doing a whole bunch of other stuff. But yeah, anyway, I'm going to get you pulled in here. We'll show you the parts that we bought for this here job. I've never done it. I'll tell you the truth, I've never done it on a Harley Davidson. I've changed handlebars on many, many different Japanese motorcycles over the years, but never a Harley. So we're fixing to find out how that goes. It looks like it's going to be pretty straightforward, and this is not really a how-to tutorial, but if you have this kind of bike, I'm sure you'll pick up some things along the way. So let's get you pulled in here and check it out. Obviously, if you're going to change out the handlebars, you're going to need a set of handlebars to put on there. Now, I struggled a lot. I thought about getting risers and the handlebar separate. I saw a lot of people complaining about a lot of these Chinese companies. That's what this is. I bought this off Amazon. It was like 80 bucks, I think, for this T-bar handlebar. I'm a little skeptical how it's going to go. I don't know. I hope it goes well. It seems like everything looks good. I've held it up to the bike. It looks like it's going to bolt right up. I checked the threads on the bottom, and I did have to clean them out with a tap. So be warned about that. If you buy some Chinese products, you may have to re-tap them yourself or clean them out, you know, clean out the threads so it makes it easier for you to screw it all together. Obviously, I had to get a set of hand grips. You know, I might have been able to take the old hand grips off and reuse them, but I was worried. The passenger side is typically glued on, and a lot of times you have to cut them off. So if it comes down to that, obviously I'm not going to be able to reuse one that I have to cut off. And plus the chrome was just getting a little old and kind of checkered and dingy on my old ones. But also, if you focus in real tight right there, let's see if I can zoom it. Okay, you see the bushing right there. That is a riser bushing and the little chrome washer, I guess, that goes on the side of it. And also a set of hand grips. I got Avon, what are they called? Air cushion or something like that. Something with air, I don't remember, but they seem to be good quality grips, and they actually have that throttle assist, I can't say it, throttle assist thing that's on there that actually helps with hand fatigue. It's like this little paddle thing that sticks out on the far extreme right side of the throttle hand grip, and it gives you a little bit of palm mobility, I guess we'll say, so that you can put your palm down and rest your finger grip a little bit when you're out on longer rides. Also, you'll see this little washer ring thing here. That's kind of what started this whole thing. I was having a problem when I'd hit my front brake and just use the front brake going up to a stop. I thought my front rotor was warped because I was getting a vibration, but it turned out that my headset bushings had, or my bearings in the headset had gotten a little bit loose. So I had to take that top capture nut thing off, and it's held on by this weird little washer thing here. Okay, it's got one little tab that sticks out of it, and then you bend it up over the side of the nut so that it doesn't back out on you, I guess, is the idea. And it's kind of chintzy. I don't really like it. And the reason I don't like it is because the first time I tried to break the nut loose, I didn't know that little finger thing was sticking down there, and I proceeded to tear that thing right off. So I had to go buy a new one of those from Harley. And I don't remember how much it was. Seemed like it was about 10 bucks, 10 or 11 bucks for that little washer thing. And it's kind of BS. It ought to be like $1.50 at most. But anyway, this is roughly what you're going to need to go with the style that I went with. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I picked up 10-inch rise T-bars. And let me spin them around. Maybe you guys can see a little better. I mean, the chrome seems okay on them. I'm not going to complain about that. I guess we'll see how they last, you know, in the next 5 years or whatever. But they seem decent. They seem strong. The welds look okay. Actually, they look pretty good on this. I don't have any problems with it. One of the things I loved about these compared to some of the other ones is there's a little bit of sweep back right here, but not much. Some of them bend back real far, and I don't like that personally. I want it to be relatively straight in line with the fork. So I'll mock it up and I'll set them up there and show you guys kind of what the look is we're going for. It's funny, I've had these bars for probably almost 6 months, but other things kept coming up, and you know, this, that, and the other came first. And if you don't know, I put the sissy bar and the saddlebags on in another video. But yeah, as you can see, here are the standard bars and the standard risers on the Softail standard. Now I can't actually put it directly over where it's going to sit, but we can get a pretty good visual representation of how it's going to look if I can hold it there. I can make it stay. Oh, I know what I'm doing wrong here. Yesterday when I was setting them on there, I had it on the lift already. Looks good. You could probably do this without a lift. If you don't have a motorcycle lift, that's cool, but I have one and might as well use it, right? If nothing else, we don't have to raise it up real high, just enough where the bike will stand up on its own, straight up and down. Oh, little piece of dust on my bike there, can't have that. I just cleaned her up the other day. Getting ready for some rides here this summer, and I'm really excited about it because just so far, being able to use those saddlebags and the sissy bar has been incredible. I'm going to go ahead and pull this up to where I can lock it. That way we don't have to worry about the jack coming down on us. Perfect. We're locked in place. She shouldn't fall over. Oh, and by the way, her name is Aurora, like Aurora Borealis, because the colors in this bike, if you see it in real life someday, maybe I'll run into you somewhere out there in the world and you'll see this bike, or this is a factory paint scheme from 2003. So if you ever see this paint scheme in person, you'll see exactly why she's named Aurora. But see, that's the look we're going to go for. Now, I'll admit they're leaning forward a little bit. There's nothing I can do about that because, you know, I'm just mocking it up. But you can see that's going to change everything. It's going to put them up just a little. I think I can get away without changing any cables or anything. That's the plan. The only thing I'm worried about is wherever it is, that brake line right there has a hard bend in it right there, and I don't know how that's going to lay out once I have it up here, because I'm going to want it to go like that and stay as close to this as I can to make everything look nice and neat. These bars have the provisions to run the wiring inside of them. I'm not going to do that for now, partly because I want it to be a simpler install, and also because I'm not exactly sure where I'm going to end up with these turn signals. I may end up relocating the turn signals down here on the fork, which I just like better. It cleans up the bars and lightens up the, you know, it just makes it look cleaner. And if I do end up relocating the turn signals down, that's when I'll go through and run all the wires through the bars, because it'll just be these two bigger wires versus the big wire and the turn signal. But yeah, that does help to clean it up quite a bit. All right, guys, I gathered up the tools that I think we're going to need here. And for that big riser bushing down here on the bottom, we're going to need a 3/4 inch wrench or socket. I guess you could use a socket if you wanted to. So we got that on standby. We've got a 9/16 deep well socket so that we can take this headlight bucket loose. And we've got a 9/16 backup wrench for the other side, because it's just basically a bolt that goes through. We're just going to try to loosen it and drop it down out of the way so that we can access these bolts a little easier. And also, my bike definitely needs a headlight adjustment because it's pointed a little bit too high. And I was noticing that yesterday when I was riding around at night. If I pull up behind somebody at a stoplight or something, my light is shining right in their mirror, and I'm sure it's really annoying. So I'm going to have to drop that down a little bit. Let's see, weird tools you're going to need. You're going to need a couple of Torx bits for the hand controls and things. This one's a T27 right here. You can get a cheap set of these over at Harbor Freight. That's what I did. And I've got a T25 screwdriver type bit here for the other screws that I think we're going to have to take loose. So I think that's it. Ain't nothing left to it but to do it. So I did watch a couple of videos before I started down this road here. And one of the videos pointed out something that I thought that makes a lot of sense. They say, get you a piece of cardboard before you start taking stuff apart. Get you a piece of cardboard and fold it over or whatever. And basically what you're trying to do is make a spacer that you can stick up in here while you do this job. He said, the dude was saying that there's some sort of a little plastic switch or something up inside there. And if it's not activated like this, then you run the risk of, when you put it back together, you could actually damage that little plastic switch. I'm trying to tighten it up a little bit here so that I can get it up in there farther. It made sense to me. I was like, okay, I'll do that. So again, since I've never done it on this type, an American-made bike, I'm not really sure what to expect. I mean, I guess that's enough. I don't know. It's activated. So I guess we'll leave that there and hope for the best. I should be able to leave my mirrors and my turn signals alone. I'm hoping I'll be able to leave my throttle cable alone. Of course, I'm going to have to change it for the new hand grips. So I'm going to go over and grab a pair of needle nose right quick. And something tells me I may need a pick. So I went ahead and grabbed one of these picks and a pair of needle nose for messing with those cables. So I think the way to do this is we're going to break everything loose, and then I'm going to do all this stuff here first, and then we'll go over and do the hand grips last. but I don't want everything unbolted because then it'll be hard to deal with it. I'm just trying to think this out and do it in the right order. I think the first thing to do is break the headlight bucket loose without breaking it or scratching any chrome. Okay, so need to back that up. Okay, yeah. We're just going to take it loose. We don't have to take it out. Now hopefully I can get my ratchet back out of there. The reason that I'm struggling here is because on this side you guys can't see it. I guess you can see it. See these things right here? This is for a windshield. Putting an aftermarket, or maybe it's not aftermarket, maybe it's Harley Davidson, but it's a windshield that came with my bike. And sorry, I'm thinking here as I'm doing this, trying to figure out how I'm gonna it's not buying me as much room as I'd hoped. I see a zip tie over here that I'm gonna have to cut loose. Well, I don't really want to, but I may just have to leave that ratchet there. It's just part of the bike now, I guess. Or I may have to take that windscreen thing off or move it because it's right in my way. Okay, editing out this part. There we go. Okay, I got that thing out of there finally. I'm just looking to see if I could easily undo these zip ties without cutting them, but I don't know. I don't see a way really. Sometimes you can. So yeah, I'll admit I've kind of been putting this off because just a million other things going on, trying to get ready, and I did get it. So yeah, there's a way to reach a screwdriver in there and manipulate that little zip tie if you want to try to reuse it. And I do, because I'm cheap like that, and it looked like a good zip tie. Now it may not give me the space that I was hoping for. As far as being able to twist it down, I may have to take the bolt all the way out and then drop the headlight bucket down. That's what I think I'm going to do. I think this is probably about a 2-beer job. But you may want to get a 6-pack just in case. Because it could turn into something else. So I think what I'm going to do, since I'm having such a hard time getting this deep well in there and the ratchet, is I'm just going to get a shallow well and try to be careful around that chrome. All right. And take this bolt out. Yeah, my hope is there would have been enough wire there that I could have just bent it down, but and there may be, but I have to remove the gas tank, see, and I don't really feel like doing that or want to do that. I'm trying to avoid that. That's another reason that I decided not to put the wires in the handlebars for now. So we're just going to take this nut loose here. There's 2 washers, so we're going to pay attention to how that goes. Lock washer on the outside and another washer on the inside. And hopefully they left me enough room to extract the bolt over here. And we'll just leave that alone. And we should be able to drop that down just like that or something. I don't want to damage anything or scratch anything. I think I'm going to grab a rag, and just for now I'm going to reassemble this, set it to the side. Okay, so now we're going to break these loose. but not take them out. Let's see, upside down, so I'll be going that direction. Okay, not too bad. I've got it all the way to the lock, but I'm also bracing the bike here. That one's going to be in there better. Let's see if I can. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Heck yeah. I see another thing I'm going to have to do also. All of these little zip ties are going to have to come off and come out of the handlebars so that when I pull the controls off and let them hang, I'll be able to remove the bars. So we'll work on that next. And I don't know exactly how long these bolts are, so I'm not going to go all the way. Yeah, I can see, look at that bushing is worn there. It's sticking out at the top too, so it definitely needed bushings at very least. And I don't think the bars are going to hurt anything. Okay, I think I'm going to stop there. I keep going. All right, that's good. So next up, we've already got our cardboard in there in the brake. So I guess we're on to, we'll cut these ties right quick. I'm not going to try to save these because I can tell they're not factory. And hopefully I've got some more black zip ties somewhere. Should have. Okay, those are loose. That one I already pulled out last night to figure out how it went. And just thinking about it here, I'm not going to have these holes on the new bars, so I'll have to either drill holes or use zip ties. I've got two more of these things. Just kind of wiggle them out. You can see hopefully how they go. They've got a couple little feet up in there. You got to get one to go past it, past the hole, and then the other one will come out easy. And I'm sure if you broke one, you could probably go get replacements at Harley Davidson. I'm sure they'd be glad to sell you some for $10 a piece. Ain't far off the truth there either. But, you know, that being said, there were times I had Japanese motorcycles over the years that I had to get rid of them because I couldn't get parts for them at all. So, I guess if you're going to play, you gotta pay. I can't get that one out. I'm just going to leave it. I got the wire around it, so it should be fine. That's loose, nothing's attached there. That side's loose, no cable ties there. I'm going to have to pay attention to that clutch cable because it's already running on the inside right there. And to me, it should probably be running on the outside of the bar like this, but maybe there's a reason. I'm going to have to look at it when I get the new bars on. And this is going to be the smaller one, the T25, I think it was. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and pull it out. My gut's telling me it has to come out. All right, next up. Okay, I'm just looking at this. Looks like all of this stuff, the brake, master cylinder, the throttle, everything, the housing is all held on by these two. And I believe this grip and the tube is also held just in that position there. Let me see if there's another one somewhere. Am I missing one? I don't think so. I think it's just the three. Two across the bar and one on this housing cover. Okay. Again, just thinking out loud here. I wonder if I need to pull these all the way out, or if I can take one just a little bit loose where it'll slide off. I'm just going to leave it in there finger tight so that if I do want to just leave them together. Okay, I just felt everything gave right then. Okay, let's see how far I need to go with that. Maybe I don't have to come all the way out with it. Okay. Now, very carefully, we're going to see if that, yep, that's supposed to split. I think I just found the last one. There's another one right here. I had a feeling. Okay. Why won't you go? Oh. Actually, that might be a Phillips screwdriver. I think it is. It's a Phillips. All right, now Harley, why'd you change horses on me in the middle of the race here? We were on a roll with the torque stuff. Now I gotta get a Phillips out? What in the world? Let's make sure, I guess, you know, that's one way to look at it. At least it's a Phillips and not some JIS screw or whatever. Or Robertsons or something. There's several weird ones that you'll know them when you come across them, because nothing will work in them. None of your normal stuff will work in them. So how bizarre is that? It's a Phillips and a flathead. So just, you know, weird. I don't know why they did that, but they did it. To make you get one more tool out of your tool pouch, I guess. Okay, somehow that's supposed to split. Feels like it wants to go that direction. I have to move my mirror up out of the way here. Okay. Sort of can see it. Try loosening these up some more. I think I see what's going on here. As we go farther out, we're getting out of the dimple where that cable rides in. There's a main cable that goes down through there. And as we're getting lower, it's getting tighter around that bar and not allowing it to go past a certain point there. Now that's out of my way enough now. And if you can't see it, I'm pulling more and more tools out. That's usually how it goes. You start out with what you think you're going to need, and then by the time you're done, you got half the shop on your floor. Okay, so we'll break that loose. And run that nut back, you know, I don't know, ½ inch or so. And then we'll tighten it up, and that should loosen all this stuff up. Yeah. already by hand. I can do it now. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing on this other one. Break it loose, run the nut back. All right, I think we're on to it now. Yeah, I should have watched a couple more videos, but my frustration was everybody was showing putting these gigantic, super, what do they call them, bar style or something? I don't know. It's the bar hopper style, and I don't want to build a bike like that. I want mine to be practical, you know, practical style. And I think T-bars look a little cooler, so I'll probably be more happy with it. So I'm just gonna, now that I've got that tension off, I should be able to just roll that around, hopefully, to the slot. My pick, I'll try that. Well, even then, oh, that's what's going on. Okay, so we just got to get up to that slot where it'll release, and we want to be careful not to lose this little brass nut thing here. Come on out of there. There we go. Now we're cooking with fire. So we're just going to take this little brass ferrule thing off and put it someplace you won't lose it. And then we're going to have to rinse and repeat on the back side here. A little harder to get to because of all that stuff. I think that may be the hardest part of the gig right there when I'm putting it back together, is going to be getting this back cable right here, I guess the return cable, getting it back in line, because the chrome cover is in my way. Okay. Unfortunately, I can't really show you guys this, but my theory is this, that the slot here on that ferrule has to be lined up with the slot on the hole, or it's not going to let me come out. And that seems to be what's happening. Yes. Okay, that was it, guys. So if it's fighting you, the slot may be misaligned just slightly. Okay, cool. Almost lost the ferrule just then, and I'm sure it would have bounced right out my shop door. So now we're ready to slide this grip off, paying attention to the orientation and all that stuff of everything and how it goes. And we should be ready to slide all the rest of that off as well. Okay, and hopefully I can just let it hang down and the cables will support all that. Okay, I think it's time to take these out, or at least one of them. That looks like I'm gonna have to take both of them out. Okay. Just let that hang right there. Yeah, buddy. All right. I'm going to set this aside. Okay. This side is loose. Let's get over to the other side and check that out. All right, guys, we're back. I've already taken the liberty of loosening and removing all the screws and bolts. Odd thing is, on this side, it was a Torx up under the bottom one. The hidden bolt was or hidden screw was a Torx. So that's maybe a little weird. Maybe they lost the original one and put that one back in on the other side, or maybe it's just some Harley engineer just, you know, jerking my chain or something. I don't know, but tell me in the comments, if you work on a lot of Harleys, do they normally have that Phillips head on that one oddball screw on the throttle side, or what? But anyway, it was holding, it was working fine. It was just a different screw. So I'm guessing somebody threw that in there. I started trying to twist the grip off, and it made my hands all red from gripping on it, and I was getting somewhere with it. And then it occurred to me, I was like, wait a minute, I'm not reusing these handlebars, so I don't really think I have to remove that grip. So we're going to attempt to remove all this other stuff here, the clutch side, without taking the grip off, and we can just pull that down out of the way, hopefully. And then I'll be able to remove the handlebars, and we'll be able to get on with the fun stuff. Okay, so that's already loose. I just need to take these bolts out. And everything gets a little weird at this point because it's kind of floppy. And we want it to all stay pretty much together the best we can here. Oh crap, that clutch is going. I guess that's okay for the moment, but I'm going to have to pay attention to that. Okay, that's coming apart. I can't stop it. Just have to let it dangle. All right. Put that back in, and I'm intentionally separating these left and right side. So I'm putting all the stuff from this side on this side of the bike, so that when I put it back together, there'll be no confusion. Because I don't know if they're identical or not. They might be. But yeah, if you wanted to go about getting this thing off, it's just a matter of either twisting this inner rubber grip enough, and I was getting somewhere, and see it's opening up. Now you could probably stick a screwdriver down in there and work the rest of that glue loose, or a long pick, a long straight pick. Some people use compressed air. I've seen that work. If you just hit it with a little burst of compressed air, you could probably save these and reuse them. I just didn't want to run the risk and then have my bike be disabled because of that. So, okay, that's all out of the way. I think now it's the moment I've all been waiting for. And maybe two of you out there that are still watching the video. Hi, Mom. Good to see you. Sorry, I haven't called. I'm a bad son. I've been busy doing this stuff. Oh, don't scratch the chrome, man. We ain't here for that. So I'm just paying attention to how this stuff's coming out, and I'm looking at the Harley hardware versus the stuff that I got in this kit. And the Harley stuff looks pretty thick and juicy. So I think I'll probably reuse it. I may reuse the chrome caps on the top, but again, these look thicker. So I'm going to compare them to the ones I got in the kit. And it was an unbranded Amazon kit, so I'm not expecting fantastic hardware. Okay, that thing's longer winded than I thought. And we're going to have to get our premium, super expensive blue Loctite out when we go back together with this. Okay. Okay. You stay there. I just want this bolt. Now, what's it hanging up on? Oh, okay. I see. There's a ground wire there. Okay, so I'm going to have to pull it apart like this through the ground wire, and I got to remember to put that back on. In fact, can I just leave it right there like that so that I won't be able to forget it? Maybe. Will it stay? Perfect. Get you over here on the business end here. We can see what's going on. All right, is it possible for me now? I don't think so. I don't think I can move that enough. I'm gonna have to be careful about this part, not to drop that other stuff over there down on my paint or to just let it go crazy. Okay, luckily I don't see a ground wire on this side, so it should be fairly easy. Goes to show though, guys, I mean, when you feel a little resistance, don't just go Hercules mode on it, or you'll end up having to repair electrical grounds and stuff like that. I couldn't tell what that was. I could tell there was resistance though. And we're going to want to make sure that when we go back together, that's all nice and clean. This thing's going to be so good. It's going to be silky smooth, just like the Zohan wanted it to be. We watched that a night or two ago. Hilarious movie. Adam Sandler. Okay, so now I need to take that pressure off, wiggle that around, gingerly let that loose. I like it. Boom, out with the buckhorn donkey ears or whatever. God dang, it looks better already. I'm sorry guys, if you're a buckhorn fan or whatever they call them, I know some people like them, but man, personal taste, I just don't like them. I had a Suzuki Intruder that I wrecked back in like 2010 or something. It was the worst motorcycle wreck of my life. And anyway, that thing had buckhorns on it, and I kind of blamed the wreck sort of on those because I just don't feel like I have the same control as I do with drag bars or straight bars or T-bars or whatever they call them today. Okay, so I'm grabbing a screwdriver and a persuader. Probably don't need a sledgehammer. Guess I'll use this. I can't find my normal hammer, so we're going to use a framing hammer. I think you have to knock these bushings out. Yeah, them rubbers are just torn up. And again, it's a 2003, so probably about normal wear and tear for that year. Okay. See, they don't look too terrible, but the edges are torn. You can see on that one. Now maybe that doesn't matter, but I was getting movement in them and I didn't like that. So, can we get that one out? Yep. I'm sure these are factory original. And again, they look better than I thought they were going to, so maybe it won't make much difference. But supposedly these polyurethanes are supposed to be stiffer. We about to find out. Yeah, let's just take a look at these bushings. Washers, whatever you want to call them. Yeah, these are way thinner. Now, maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe it does. And I don't need chrome for sure on the bottom side. I mean, I can just feel it. This one's got more weight and heft to it than this one does. Yeah, I think I'm just going to go with the Harley ones, even though that's kind of a shame. I wonder if I could put it on top of it like that and double up on it, if there'd be any problem with that. I don't think it matters that much. I'm just going to clean this up a little bit with my thumb here and get it nice. And we're just going to go back with the factory ones because I just don't trust that. It looks thin and flimsy to me. I mean, your handlebars are kind of important. You want to make sure they stay on the bike. Okay, so put that one in. And let me just pull that back and just make sure that there's not a difference in the thickness, and it doesn't seem to be a top and a bottom. They appear the same, so we're just going to go with that. Okay, that's good. And here's the factory washer back on there. Yeah, that's fine. Nobody's going to see, you know, that little bit of chrome not being there is not going to be a problem. Yeah, it's a shame, man. Used to be able to go down to the hardware store and whatever, and even ordering any kind of part. The thickness was good, the quality was good. You'd order something online, whatever. I guess actually no. It kind of started ending about the time online became a thing. Put that one in there. Okay, and give it a thumb polish. Looks good. Put that back on. And I would be ready to throw bars on, but I want to do one more thing here. I want to take this loose. And I'm probably going to have to change the position of the camera. We're just going to take that cap off, set it aside for a moment. And I'll move you guys over here. Where you can see how badly I destroyed that frickin' washer trying to reuse it. Focus up. There we go. Okay, so yeah, not proud of it, but basically I didn't know that this little tab, hopefully you can see it's bent over there, was supposed to be down in that hole. And actually that's the tab that I cut in it, because I couldn't reuse the factory tab. When you take this nut loose, even once I smashed that thing down and had it flat, once I started taking it loose, I couldn't hold this thing still. So this is almost every time you take the headset off, you're going to probably have to buy one of those ring things, and I don't like that. They could have done it a million different ways, including having a cotter pin or something that goes through there, kind of like they do on the wheel of a car. But they did it this way, and I think they did it this way intentionally to make you have to buy more parts from them. I'm going to have to loosen that off, take it off, and then get the new one installed, tighten it down, and then you have to bend it up over the side. And that's what's supposed to hold everything together and tight. And maybe it works good, I don't know. But I don't like having to take a hammer and chisel to a Harley Davidson. It just seems wrong. Seems like there's a better way they could have done it. Oh, see, like that. Makes you wonder how much of it is intentional, where they're trying to make it to where when you do work on it yourself, you're going to screw something else up and then you got to go buy it from them. But see, yeah, I got that thing as flat as I can possibly get it. And when I start turning it, even though I cut a new stop tab that went down in the hole, when I started tightening it up to where it needed to be tightened, it pulled it out of that hole. I couldn't hold it still. So I'm gonna have to run over to the other shop and grab a giant crescent wrench, and we'll be back in a second. All right, now we're gonna try to bust this loose. Now the problem I see here is the wheel is gonna try to turn on me. So I'm gonna have to kind of brace it with my legs, and hopefully that's enough. That was scary. But yeah, see how that just spins? It was spinning. I don't like that design, but got to run what we brung, so that's what we're doing. Okay. I think I'll go ahead and wipe that down right quick. It's not actually a pretty good sign. I think that's grease, because I just greased this thing recently and I wasn't sure if it got all the way up to the upper bearing. These Softails, I don't think they're all this way, but the Softails have a grease zerk down here on the frame. I think it's on that side somewhere. And you want to do that from time to time. Okay, so that's supposed to go in like that and lock into that thing. And then this has to tighten, but you have to watch it and make sure you're not twisting that little tab off, because it can happen. Okay, so how am I going to do that? Maybe if I get a flathead screwdriver and kind of put some pressure right there as I'm tightening it. Let's try that, I guess. Because it's one of those things you don't want coming loose on you on the road. Now again, I don't know what the torque specs are on this. All I know is whenever I put it on looser, it felt loose. It didn't feel like it was. And then I've even tightened up the nut down below this. This thing may be due for headset bearings before it's all said and done, but I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do that because of that wire. And I can't really get a good bite right there. I think I'm better off just watching it, making sure I don't overdo it. Okay, so far it doesn't seem to be twisting at all on this new one. Maybe what it is when you're taking it loose. Okay, I'm gonna call that good. It was about half a grunt. Okay, so now we have to find a place, like probably right here on the side, where we can bend it up. And that's supposed to lock everything into place. I'm gonna start out with a little tiny one here. There we go. I know, it seems crazy. When they could have just done I don't know, man, a cotter pin. They never heard of a cotter pin over there, Harley Davidson? That was one of my bolts. I think I'm gonna call that good. It ain't going nowhere. It can't turn. One more right here. And then we'll just flatten it. Perfect. Or at least I hope so. That's how I took it apart, let's put it that way. Okay, so now we can thread that guy back on. And yeah, I love chrome. I know it's kind of going the way of the dodo bird or the dinosaurs. A lot of people don't like it anymore, and the new cars, of course, have none on them. A lot of the new motorcycles are blacked out, but I love chrome. Good old-fashioned chrome too, the good stuff. Now, after all this waiting, we finally get to see what it's going to be like. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to screw one in and go get my thread locker out. Because I got so excited I forgot to do that. And see, I've already got the bushing and everything on this one, so it's just a matter of lining it up. And thankfully I tapped those out, so they feel very nice. Okay. Will that stay there? Oh, hell yeah. I like it a lot better already. I just hope my cables will make it. I swear, guys, this thread locker stuff is so expensive. I may have to start thinking about a safe for out here in my shop. $20 for a little bitty bottle like that. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. Okay. Is there any reason that I would want those cables around the front of the bars? I don't think so. I think I want them on the inside, at least right there, and then I'll probably try to run them up like that. So I think it's just time to put a little thread locker on this bolt right here. And I will have to pull that off. And that, okay. It goes like that. Oh man, mosquitoes getting me. I don't want your West Nile. Okay, so we're gonna put some blue thread lock on there. I'm not going crazy with it because, again, I may have to take this back off, who knows. Okay, so now it was that. And then get it up in the hole. Ooh, that's what she said. Let's see. Sorry, Mom. Okay, need my 3/4 inch wrench. American, 100%. Haven't had to whip out a metric yet on this thing. Now, I ain't a big fan of the Torx, but it's better than metric. We'll take care and we'll use the boxed end of the wrench just to make sure we don't slip. And again, we're going to want to watch that ground wire as we start getting tight with it, because last thing we want to do is cause ourselves some electrical problems. Yeah, this is actually kind of going the way I thought it would go. Not too many surprises yet. The bars have bolted up nicely. So I should be able to snug this and not tighten it yet. I just want it nice and snug. And yep, that cable's going to try to turn on me, so I'm going to have to hold on to that. Okay, we're going to leave that there. Straighten it back out a bit. Whoops, sorry. Now, I gotta take that back out. And don't you fall, I can't afford to spill any of that stuff. I'm just staring at my Loctite, wondering if it's gonna fall on me. Got to put the lid on. All right. Holy moly, man, this looks better than I even thought it was gonna look. You know, there was a time in my life I didn't think, I kind of gave up on the Harley dream. I didn't think I'd ever own one because they're so daggum expensive. And this one came along, the price was right. Didn't buy it new, but low mileage, seems to be well kept. Pretty much stock, which is what I like. I didn't want to find one that was all covered in skulls and whatever else, flames or whatever else people are into, because I'm not into that. And of course, when they start modding stuff, they want to get their money back. Now, I don't normally worry about it, but on this, I think I'm going to run in to the house and get torque specs on it just to see where we need to be. And that wire is going to try to turn the whole time, so that's going to be a pain. It's just, these are kind of critical. It's not something you want coming loose when you're riding down on the highway and you're getting your motor running and all that stuff. Okay, so yeah, I am going to search that real quick, what the torque specs are, and we'll be right back after these messages from our sponsor. All right, according to the internet, they say 40 foot-pounds, 30 to 40 to be precise. Okay, hopefully I don't have to go so far on that one, because that little wire is going to be a problem. It's got some room to go forward. Come on, baby. That's gotta be it. It's like I need to hold on to that thing somehow, but I can't. Come on. Can I get a plier up in there? Not really. Maybe from right here. See, the problem is I need to hold that front end from twisting. Nope. Okay, I'm gonna have to loosen it off again. That wire's going too far. So what I'm gonna have to do, I guess, is anticipate where it's gonna land. All I need is to be loose enough for that wire to turn. Not there yet.